Brilliance Audio presents The Mountain by Stephen Konkoly, performed by Tom Rivera. Ryan Decker slid the rickety metal chair across the donut shop's grimy linoleum floor, angling for a slightly more expanded view of the street. A guy he recognized from a picture provided with the firm's intelligence packet lurked near a bustling taco stand down the street from the Target Motel, juxtaposed against the packed lunchtime gaggle. His razor-bald dome and neck tattoo were just part of the reason. The fact that he remained empty-handed was the biggest tip-off. He ignored the feeding frenzy on the sidewalk in front of him, constantly checking his phone and furtively glancing at the donut shop. His most recent peek in Decker's direction had been anything but secretive. It had lasted long enough to leave him feeling uneasy seated next to a floor-to-ceiling plate glass window. Exposed might be a better description of how he appeared. If Decker had been made, and the group working out of the Ritz Motel was serious enough about protecting their kiddie-peddling enterprise, he'd make a nice target for an unannounced drive-by shooting. Then again, a lunchtime shooting in the middle of North Hollywood would bring far more trouble down on their operation than a nosy private investigator. Of course, this decision-making logic assumed that they hadn't somehow specifically identified Decker. He'd built somewhat of a ruthless reputation in Los Angeles over the past several months, and despite Harlow's best efforts to keep his connection to the firm under the radar, word had oozed into the deepest, darkest crevices of the area's human trafficking underworld. Decker's presence meant one thing for these scumbags: serious trouble. Decker loosened his shirt, giving him better access to the concealed pistol on his right hip. The man stepped away from the taco shop crowd and started walking briskly toward the Ritz Motel, his eyes darting from the sidewalk in front of him to the donut shop window. Shit. Decker took a sip of coffee while tapping a text to Harlow. Decker. Taco Nazi OM toward RM. Pretty sure I'm burned. Harlow. Motel is hot. I can feel it. Decker. He'll probably walk right past if I'm made. Harlow. Can't let that happen. We have to find her ASAP if you're burned. They'll kill her and leave. Decker. Agreed. Need a room number. Harlow. How? He alternated between Taco Nazi and the screen for a few moments, deciding on a fairly reckless course of action. If it didn't work, they'd be no worse off than now. Decker. Have an idea. You won't like it. Harlow. Shocker. Do it. Where do you need me? Decker. Depends on what happens. OM. Decker pushed away from the table and ran for the door, barely managing to speed dial Harlow's number on the way. Predictably, Taco Nazi took off the moment Decker burst onto the sidewalk, passing the entrance to the motel. Shit. Given the man's speed and the relatively short distance to the intersection beyond the motel, Decker immediately assessed that he'd lose this foot race if he didn't cheat a little. He needed to herd Taco Nazi back to the motel. Ignoring the green lights clearly visible at the intersection less than 100 feet away, Decker sprinted diagonally across 4 lanes of traffic on Lankershim Boulevard, screaming the entire way. Maybe the sight of a raving lunatic gave the drivers pause. Maybe the powers that be finally decided to give Decker a break. Whatever the case, he managed to run full speed across the entire width of North Hollywood's busiest street without stopping. Taco Nazi froze his tracks when Decker burst onto the sidewalk 30 feet in front of him. Horns blared and car tires screeched as the skinhead glared at Decker, who raised the bottom edge of his shirt to expose the concealed holster on his right hip. The move was a calculated gamble. Decker couldn't legally draw the pistol unless the man displayed a firearm first. A scenario with one clear ending: Taco Nazi dead on the sidewalk, and a whole lot of explaining to do.